Okay, good evening, everyone. I would like to know if you guys can hear me. And so, welcome. Good evening. I am Awal at APC, and currently I work with YIEE. YIEE stands for Youth Initiative for Economic Empowerment. And I am glad to have each and every one of you here today, this afternoon, this evening. So, well, I don't know where you are coming or where you are joining us from, be it Nigeria or any other part of the world where you are joining us from today. You are welcome, and on behalf of Youth Initiative for Economic Empowerment, I welcome you all to YIEE Skill Up program. So, well, before we proceed to the program properly, I would like those of us who are present on the YouTube channel to do well to kindly drop the places where we are joining us from. We'd like to know those who are joining us from Nigeria. Yeah, joining us from Nigeria, let us know the state, whether you're a university student or an undergraduate. Let us know the university that you are joining us from, and if you are joining us from India, South Africa, United States of America, or wherever you're joining us from, do well to kindly put it in the chat box, and we'll follow you as you do that. So let's do that. Let's be snappy with that. Let's make that snappy, and then let's make it fun and engaging. Yeah. So you guys should just calm down. This session is going to be powerful because we have wonderful and industry-based experts that will be discussing very important details with us today concerning digitalizing Africa, the future of work in Africa and beyond 2025. So do well to do that. I'll check where guys have on YouTube now. Okay, I can see Joseph Edem, and then I can see Amitabh from Ogun State. Let me see. Okay, Joseph Edem. Joseph Edem is joining us from Cross River State, and then we have Amitabh Bimini is joining us from Ogun State, Nigeria. Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you very much for joining us, Amitabh and Bimini. And then Emmanuel is also present with us. So I think Emmanuel just went off currently. Emmanuel Initiative for Economic Empowerment. Emmanuel will join us very soon, but nevertheless, I will do a proper introduction when he joins. So let's keep the messages coming. Yeah, Amitabh, thank you. So for those of you who are just joining us in the chat, you guys should kindly drop where you are joining us from. Join where you are joining us from. You are joining us from Nigeria. Tell us which state are you joining us from? Is it from Lagos? Is it from Kogi? Is it from Kaduna State or Kano State? And if you are joining us from outside Nigeria, do well to drop your city and the country you are joining us from. Thank you very much. So let's do that. We'll begin the program proper in the next 2 minutes. Yeah.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so I can
Hi,
see Buhari Aishat from Ondo State. Oh, Emmanuel, welcome. Welcome.
thank you.
I hope you all can see Emmanuel.
I
So if you are with us, do also put your comments in the okay, okay. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, we are good. We are good. We are good. We are good. Yeah, so let me just give a brief overview of what YIEE is all about before we proceed. Um, before that, we'll have 5 sessions for today's program. We'll have 5 sessions for today's program. Emmanuel is waving at you all. I hope you all can see Emmanuel. Emmanuel is the founder of Youth Initiative for Empowerment, YIEE, and he is one of the reasons why we have this program with us today. I can see Ogunfuyi Barakat. Thank you very much for joining. Ogunfuyi Barakat is from Ogun State. Ogunfuyi Barakat, are you joining us from Nigeria or where are you joining us from? You also tell us where you're joining us from. Yeah, so like I said earlier on, we'll be having 5 different sessions for the program today. And I would like to give you guys a run through of the programs that we have in plan for every one of us. So we'll be starting with Decent Work Overview, Outlook of 2025 in Nigeria. And this will be discussed by Emmanuel Michael Emechete. And the session will last for 10 minutes, after which we'll move on to positioning yourself as a hire for top firms. And here we'll have with us Uncle Sina. Uncle Sina is the engineering lead from Google, and he'll be taking us positioning yourself as a hire for top firms like Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and how to get yourself in clients with these big Fortune 500 companies. Then afterwards, we'll move on to closing the skill gap and a means to achieving decent work, and this will be taken by our founder, the person of Isika Emmanuel, and he will be the one to handle that session. Afterwards, we'll have the skill up program itself. So I'll be the one to anchor that session, and that will last for just 5 minutes. I'll give you guys a brush overview of what the skill up program is and why we came about the skill up program. Then, last but not the least, we'll get a message from our partner in person of Adenike Apati. I hope you all can hear me. So if you guys are following, kindly drop comments in the comment section so I can know those who are with us and those who are not with us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Awaro, for that. Okay, I can see Buhari Aishat. I can see Barakat from Ogun State. Shout out to Barakat. I can see Bimini and also Joseph. All right. So currently, our first guest is not around, so I'll be doing overview about the skill gap. I hope I'm audible. If you can hear me, if you can hear me, just say I in the comment section. So the skill gap in Nigeria, there is a need for a closure in the skill gap. According to the survey carried out by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics in the second quarter of 2020, that is October, it was said that over 80 million people are out of work, but these people are willing to work. Isn't this amazing? 18 million people. And in Nigeria, we have 200 million. So that means 80 million out of 200 million, that is almost 30% of the population are out of work. And this is really, really amazing. Now, out of this 80 million, we have 23 million people who are youths. These youths are willing to work. According to the Q1, a press in Africa, a survey shows that Nigerian graduates over 500,000 students per year. So this means people in unemployment will triple over the next 3 years. This call for the need for a closure in the skill gap. A survey carried out by the Group, a company in the US, shows that 7 out of every 10 employer articulated the unemployment to lack of skills. The employer had something to say, saying that youth are unemployed today because they don't have the needed skill for the job, which lead us to the future of works. For we know the future of works is what? The future of work is what? Is it digital? Does it have to do with the brick businesses? Does it have to do with physical? Yeah, let me hear in the comment box. The future of work, is it digital? Yes, thank you so much, Aishat. For the future of work is digital. So this means any skill which we are learning as a student, as a job seeker, as a youth, as above the youthful stage, it must be projected towards the digital economy. We all know, and just in case you are not aware, in June 2019, that is last year, the President General Muhammadu Buhari announced Nigeria as a digital economy. This means everything that will be done will be projected towards digitalization. Then why digitalization? According to the World Economic Forum, it is said that digitalization is going to create 140 million jobs in 2025. Isn't this amazing? You mean 140 million? Yes, you are right. 140 million new jobs are going to be ushered in due to digitalization. So this call for you and others to embrace the digital economy, developing yourself towards the digital economy, closing your personal skill gap, and then going out to close that of your friends, your colleagues. This has to do with speaking, if you are a student, to the student peers, if you are a worker, to your employees or colleagues, if you are an employer of labor, then to your employees. Yes, if you are still following, can you type following in the chat box? Okay, great. Awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'll be sharing a slide very quickly. Okay, let me know when you can see my screen, please. All right, can you see my screen? So closing the skill gap as a pathway to achieving the as a pathway to achieving decent work in Africa. When we're talking about closing, that means there is an opening which need to be bridged, which need to be closed. Now, a skill is an expertise which is required from a human to another person. So it's like an expertise used in a tool of service. So there is need for us to close the skill gap in order to ensure decent work is being made available for all. Now, the first thing we should understand that one third of the working age population in low and middle income companies lack basic skill. To get quality jobs, leaving them unstable to achieve their full productive potential and limiting economic investment and growth. According to the recent statistics, which was carried out by the Nigeria investment bodies, it shows that one of the 15 problems of Nigeria, among that, is the lack of skillful labor force. Lack of skillful labor force. So there is need to close the skill gap. And how can we bridge the skill gap? Is by influencing others to learn a digital skill or a skill required for the future of works. According to the World Bank calculation, more than 2 billion working age people are not equipped with the most essential literacy skill required by employer for the future of works. And when this problem is broken down, we came to realize that employers across Africa note that skill gap is a major constraint for them to grow their business. So this means that employers are looking for those that are highly skilled, but there is a shortage of technical talent across Africa. And this impede innovation of businesses in Africa. Although education is on the high side in Africa, for example, through the primary to the secondary, even to the university level, as we've seen increase over the years in enrollment in school. But building people with skill capacity, that is numeracy and literacy, remains low. So there is need for that to be tackled. Now I'll be sharing a survey with us, which is the 10 most demanding skill in the year 2025, demanded by all employers globally. So according to World Economic Forum, these are the list of 10 skills. The first is the analytic thinking and innovation. So employer expects their employee to be what? To be innovative. Active learning. The future of work survey shows that 50% of employers said their employee will need reskilling in the next 3 years. Now, complex problem solving. How do you solve problems? For example, a friend shared in a meeting, there were managerial discussions about launching of a product. And just a newbie, okay, a new employee was asked, what's your say concerning that? And he said, I agree with all what you people say. Why the approach to problem solving is to ask question. Question like, what is this product going to solve? What problem is this our product going to solve? Will the customer be able to afford it? Is it affordable? Is it affordable? Who is or are our targeted audience? How long are we going to push this product in the market? Who are our current competitors? What is their strength? What is their weakness? Okay, what opportunity can we derive which our product can stand against this? So it's very, very important. The next is critical thinking and analysis. You're expected to think critically on the job. Now, creativity is very key and essential. Leadership quality, technology use. This has to do with knowing to code from non-technical field and even the technical field. Then technology design, programming resilience, stress, flexibility, and ideation. These are very, very important skills. So there is need for us to close the skill gap, and this can't be possible except you get reskill. Except you get reskill for what? For the future of works. Thank you so much. All right, this moment I will love to bring Mr. Anchor from Google, a hiring man, a senior engineering leader at Google who recruits software engineer.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Just type in a quick comment on the YouTube Live if you can hear me, and if you can, in a few seconds, see my screen. Okay, there we go. Um, we'll get started on my section. My name is Ankur. I am an engineering leader at Google. I work in the cloud division. I've been at Google for almost 2 years now, and then prior to that, I spent over a decade in Microsoft and had my own startup before that. So I've been in the tech industry for a while. So I'm happy to come and share some of that experience, something that might be useful to you here in this session. um, First off, thank you to Emmanuel and everybody else behind the Youth Initiative for Economic Empowerment. I do think it's a very noble initiative and it's very, very critical. So kudos to them for driving this forward, and just simply honored to be a small part of it in being able to contribute a little bit from my side. So from a how to position yourself, for some of these top technology firms, like Google or some of the other tech companies that Emmanuel and Nawad talked about. I definitely will go through a set of guidance. Think of it as helpful tips, that explain some aspects of how you could think about positioning yourself for these tech companies. A little bit about how to prepare if you've made the call to say, hey, I want to go work for some of these companies, and I'll share some resources there. But I also love to engage in questions. So if you have questions on what I'm talking or want to follow up offline, feel free to comment in the YouTube live or feel free to connect on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to help. Quick disclaimer from my company that's what's on the slide. Any views I do express here are my own. So I am representing myself, not the entirety of Google. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. Um, Before I get into any further slides, I think if I think about the question very generically and say, what do top companies look for when they look at candidates from an employment perspective, especially more on the technical side? I would say two things stand out, and they kind of match well with what Emmanuel talked about in his top 10 skills from the World Economic Forum. And the two words that stand out to me are passion and curiosity. So passion in terms of what are your interests, what do you like to do, where would you want to go, help grow your skills. So that passion, that interest, I think is needed. And the second one is, what we call curiosity, that hunger for learning. I want to learn new things. I want to explore. We're looking for that curiosity in folks we interview, just to see if you'd be able to adapt, as the skills change, as the environment changes, to make sure that you'd be able to keep up and keep learning. So with that framework in mind, passion and curiosity, I'll share maybe a quick quote that is based on one of the resources I'll share. This is from the Google Careers website, but I'll just read this quote to you. I think it's a very good example of something that not just Google but most tech companies will look for. Which says if we hire you purely based on your skills, something that you have already learned, we get a skilled employee, which is good. I think it's useful to have somebody who has the skills you need. But if we hire you based on not just your skills, but also your passions, your distinct experiences, your own perspectives, that's when we feel like we get a Googler. That's what we're looking for. We want that whole self of yours to come and help contribute to the causes that we as Google or we as a tech company, want to drive forward. So, keep that context in mind as we walk through some of these other resources. I'll just point out for anybody who might have questions about the resources themselves, these are all publicly available on the Google site. I will share this set of slides with Emmanuel, so he can send them off to you if you want to look at them offline. But most of the content I'm showing is available on the public Google website. So this slide just covers really quickly how we hire. Even though it describes the entire process, I'll focus purely on that first step, which is self-reflection. This is why I want to go back to this notion of, I'm going to flip the question. I think when Emmanuel talked about it, it was more about, well, how do you skill up in order to meet the demands of the job? I'm going to flip the question back to you. What do you want to learn? How do you want to contribute? What are some of the areas that you feel you have interest in? Are you passionate about a particular topic that you feel you'd be able to contribute for? Or specific to skills, what are you good at? What are some things you'd want to learn so you can get good at it, even though you might not be exposed to it right now? So I think that self-reflection is very important to figure out, making sure that you spend your time learning skills, getting to a state where you'd be able to do things that interest you, in addition to something that is required by the job. So keep both perspectives in mind, as you think about, how you want to approach the process of positioning yourself to some of these large tech companies. The rest of the process is, I would say, relatively standard, but I'll run through really quickly. Once you've done your reflection, you typically go through the process of a job search. Most tech companies have a careers website. They have recruiters on LinkedIn. They often have recruiting events specific to your region. So for example, for Google, I know we have presence in South Africa. So sometimes there are recruiting events that happen there, that can be useful to attend and get more information from. And then as you get informed about those events or those job openings that happen, you would start building your resume and applying online. The website has great resources on how to think about it and like how to think about applying. So both from a resume preparation as well as applying online perspective. Go through an interview process, again, very discreetly defined on the website, and then goes to an hiring decision and then leads to an offer, and then you get your welcome to Google. So that's the overall hiring process. And it's very similar for most tech companies. So even though I'm describing it from a Google perspective, a lot of this is very similar in most tech companies. Now, the next slide, I think covers what a lot of people might be thinking about, especially, given some of the background that Emmanuel covered, which is how should you think about skilling up? Like, if we do believe that, there are people who are interested in joining the likes of Google or the other tech companies that are out there, like, and let's say you're not a computer science grad or you haven't graduated from, a bachelor's degree yet, like, how do you think about skilling up so that you can go have a shot at some of these companies? So again, another great resource. This is a screenshot of the tech guide from Google. So we offer resources that allow folks to follow a path in terms of growing your technical skills. This could be from the basics of programming, could be some advanced programming constructs that you might want to learn, could be specific domain topics, could be machine learning, cloud computing, application development, mobile development, could be very specific areas that you either have interest in or you believe there are job openings that you'd want to target. So you can spend time leveraging these resources available online on the internet to prepare yourself, to skill up. Most tech companies at this point of time don't require a formal degree. So as long as you're able to demonstrate the aspects of that passion and curiosity I talked about, and obviously, a set of basic skills around, analytical thinking, some innovation, some creativity. I think those would be good paths to learn on in order to make sure that you have a good shot at some of these tech companies. I'll just split it into maybe three different categories. If you're somebody who's a student and you're early in career, a good way of skilling up is do some projects, contribute to some open source projects. There's plenty of projects available. You could go contribute to demonstrate some impact of, hey, I've built certain things that have tangible value to customers. If you're a new graduate, you've just graduated and you're looking for a job, and you're like, "Hey, I'm applying, but I'm not getting a response." A good suggestion usually is get some experience under your belt. Could be open source, like I said earlier. Could be working for a company that's maybe more localized, but getting some experience under your belt also helps. And then keep persisting. Like I think I actually saw an article from Emmanuel a couple of weeks ago. Which said rejections are hard. Like when somebody says, "Hey, you applied, but we can't offer you a job," that they're hard. But like I would want to point out, persistence is key. Rejections are redirections, like Emmanuel said in that article. You can definitely look at it as an opportunity that will drive it forward. If you keep persevering and you keep persisting. And then lastly, from my side, for students, so I was told that there's students here in the audience as well. We also offer good, concrete, step-by-step guidance on how you should think about creating a resume, giving you some examples of what different job profiles in Google do. How should you prepare? How do you look at events if you want to discover certain events specific to Google? Like, how do you think about it? So there's great resources available online that you could look at. And again, I'm also happy to help. So feel free to reach out. I saw, I think Emmanuel shared my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to connect. Happy to help in any way I can. So with that was the end of my content. So I'm going to hand it back over to Emmanuel, and I'll happy to take questions towards the end or whenever there's an opportunity.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Uncle. It's nice having you on board.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel.
And if you have any question, please kindly do well down at the chat box. Paste in your question. We are waiting for it. So as Uncle said, they said that rejection and redirection. If you are a student, contribute to open source, build projects, understand what the company is seeking for, and then whenever you are rejected, learn from your rejection. And don't forget to network with people. We have an engineering leader here. If you have any question you need an advice on which project to embark on, which project will add to more visibility, just hit him up. I share the link in the chat box. You can reach out to him. Once again, thank you so much for that amazing session. So right now we'll be inviting our next guest, which is Emmanuel from the United Nations Major Group for Youth and Children. And actually, what is my mentor, and it's been glorious with him and one of the brain behind it and what we do. I we can't Uh, Hello, can you hear me? Mr. Emmanuel, we can't hear you. Uh,
Hello, can you hear me?
oh, great. Now we
Mr.
can.
Emmanuel, we can't hear you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello. Please, if you can hear me, can you type in the chat box, please? Let me know where it's coming from. Am I audible? Okay, great. Okay, what about our previous guest? Were you able to hear him too, or was it from my end? Please let me know in the chat box. Okay, great. All right, I'll be bringing in Mr. Emmanuel back on board. Just a minute. All right, so we'll be coming back on board now, and we hope it will be better now. Hello. No, no, no. We can't hear you. I can only see your voice flow. I can't hear you personally. I can't hear you. How about? All right. Thank you so much. It will be back. It will be back shortly. Just within 3 minutes, is going to rectify the device. We are really sorry for the break in transmission. We'll be back soon. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, hello.
Hello. I can hear you
Can
clear
you?
and clear. Yes, I can. I
Okay,
can hear.
okay. I'm sorry about that. I really don't know. Sometimes this tech device just come up with some issues. So I'm sorry, everyone in the audience. Sorry that I had to keep you waiting for this long and for all the technical issues from my end.
All right. Thank you so much. You have the floor, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening because Nigeria, and good afternoon or even morning from everywhere you're joining. Um, like he has introduced it earlier on, my name is Emmanuel Mike Emechite, and actually from United Nations Major Group for Children and Youth, which is a body to represent the youth and children at the United Nations level. So basically, I served as regional focal point for decent work. I think that's why Emmanuel is bringing me here, and also I run a consulting firm where we help young people either to start their businesses or to develop their career paths. So that being said, sorry about that. So I'm here to talk basically about the issue of decent work um, and looking at where we are right now, especially going to 2025. I see that our program is basically to focus on what we call it on skill up. That's trying to get people to get the right skills for the job. So when we are talking about decent work overview, and we're looking towards the year 2025, there's a lot of things that comes to play. But basically, the idea of skilling up is one thing that we cannot delete or remove out of the whole equation. Because looking at the year 2025, and if you're not skilling up, it means you are not even looking at the year 2025. Because right now, especially for Africa, a lot of things that we are supposed to have learned, a lot of us are not actually doing that. Just to look at COVID. COVID alone exposes us to a lot of things, showing us those loopholes. Just like when you have this phone, maybe the brand told you that you could take your phone inside water and you could swim with it and you could put your phone in one for 1 hour underwater, and you decided to go to the beach and you swam and you did some surfing or you went to the pool, and after just 5 minutes into the water, your phone begins to develop fault. That shows that your phone was not actually built for underwater. So COVID showed us that Nigeria was not built for online learning. Nigeria was not skilled up to some certain level because even teachers, the educator sectors cannot use things like Google Doc to collaborate, work together. People in offices could not work online. People don't even know how to use Zoom to teach. So a lot of things were not going on. That means a lot of us need to skill up. Nigeria as a whole need to skill up. And I think also a lot of African countries, a lot of schools could not go online. Even federal schools, schools that were owned by federal government cannot go online. The schools that could go online were schools that were owned by private entities and some other few schools by other organizations and even workplaces. A lot of people lost their job, a lot of things happened. So basically, what I'm trying to say now is that if we're looking at 2025 and looking at how the decent work will be, we need to begin to skill up. So that's why we're having this program. We need to skill up. So yeah, I'm not here with a slide, and but I hope that whatever moment I spend with you here will be enough to leave an impact and make you understand the reasons why you need to skill up. And not just to skill up, but also be an advocate, telling other young ones and people like yourself to also skill up and get the right skills for the future of work. The future of work is an initiative from the ILO, the UMGCY, and especially the decent work work a lot with the ILO and UNDESA. So basically, the goal is to be able to achieve what we call decent work, especially among youth. That's for us because we focus more on the youth arm. So when we look at the idea of decent work, what comes to play? A lot of people just sometimes we'll do a lot of survey or a sampling in a webinar, ask people what do you think decent work is. We have different kind of opinions. So I just want to ask us, you could write in the chat box. I don't know if there's a space for that, what you think decent work is, just your own idea of it. I don't know how much minutes I have left, but you type on the chat box what you think decent work is, so we can also hear your thoughts. But um, while I'm waiting for that, I would want to say that decent work goes beyond what a lot of people have been saying when you ask them for the first time. They feel that it's just like getting a go from the word decent. Okay, decent, that means this thing is decent, it's not legal, illegal. I'm just going to my office, I'm doing my work, I'm not killing anybody, I'm not frauding anybody, so I'm doing a decent work. So that's the idea of decent work. So I'm doing a decent job. I'm wearing white. I'm doing a white collar job. I wear a nice t-shirt. Go to the office. I wear my suit. So I'm decent. I'm clean with my job. So basically, that decent work goes beyond that. So that being said, not okay. I think I'm seeing some chat. Okay. Okay. So I think that's just from inside. Okay. So basically, when we talk about decent work, we are talking about work that does not threatens your life, work in a safe space, work that provides for your basic amenities, that means able to take care of your income and health insurance, and you have this like I would like to say job security, like probably you're working somewhere, you're not afraid of losing your job so soon. You have that settled, you have your health insurance settled, you have your right equipment to work, you are not exposed to danger. It's not affecting you psychologically. Your boss is not oppressing you or making you to feel depressed. You're working in an environment whereby you are comfortable with your work, your life is safe, you are getting all the due benefits. It goes beyond that, but these are just the basics, definitely as simple as it is. So you're working somewhere and the company is not exploiting you, they're not overworking you, they're not putting your life in danger. For example, you're working in a site whereby let me say somebody who is working on the roof fixing the solar panel and is working there, and if by any chance he slips, it means he's going to go straight down, hit his head or hit his body, break his leg or die. So that kind of person has to be given equipment to protect them. For example, maybe I don't know what they call it, they have this stuff they tie around themselves, hang it to a pole or somewhere or a machine. So if there's any slipping, they are safe, they can't fall down. There's an air melt, there's a nice boot, there are shoes. So all those stuffs, once the company provides that, that means the company is trying to make sure that you are good health, and not the life is not endangered. Or imagine somebody going to a mine coal in a mine, but the mine is about to collapse, and the company knows that this mine may collapse any moment. But they're like so greedy, they want to make sure that you go and work there and get mine, and they feel like if it collapse, it doesn't have any issue to do with them. So that company is exposing you to danger. That job is not a decent job. Yes, we need to get a job that is not illegal, but definitely we are talking beyond that. A job that provides basic amenities for you, keep you safe, and you have assurance that you can keep working. Don't get to lose your job. So basically, how can we keep this? That is, let's even say, how can we get this decent job? Because a lot of African youths are working and they don't even have a decent job. They are just working because there is no job. So probably, and these employers know that. So I wouldn't say there's no job anyway, but let's just say there's no job. So or let's say the jobs are not easy to get because you're not skilled up. So wherever you find yourself, you just pick them up and begin to do them, and your employer begin to exploit you in ways they are not legally acceptable under the ILO standard or even the standard for your country. So basically, you accept this job because you just need to put food on the table. That's what a lot of people are doing right now. They just need to get out of the house or probably get something in their pocket to get basic amenities like food and stuff like that. And when you are doing this work, you don't have health insurance. Sometimes you even have to risk your life. So you even have to spend your own money to go get the work done. And you have a lot of targets and a lot of things that are not supposed to be done. Some boss begin to threaten the workers. Some ladies are being sexually abused, and a lot of stuff just because there's a lot of scarcity. There's a scarcity of employment. So basically, if you want to secure a decent job, like get a decent job, that means somebody have to provide that decent job. So who are the people that are supposed to provide this decent job? Yes, we are hoping that the government are supposed to do so, like provide a decent job and also create that environment for decent job. So in a sense whereby the government makes the economic so favorable that people will want to invest in the country. Entrepreneurs are being sponsored, for example, not really sponsored in essence like giving them money, but like supported, for example, like you providing power, maybe industrial area for like in the Silicon Valley stuff kind of stuff where you can have tech ops come together doing stuff and the government is supporting them. Then look at the issue of the NSAS now. I think we want to do a webinar with some other guys. Then a lot of people who work from home are being seen like Yahoo guys or something like Yahoo guys are actually called internet fraudsters. So basically, there was this NSAS stuff protest that came on, and it's somehow interlinked because a lot of people work from home. For example, maybe a graphic designer who is a freelancer and just see that because he's a graphic designer as a youth, he likes to keep his hair off or do dreadlocks and maybe probably has a stole on his ears and he has a tattoo and just think, oh, this guy does something, he's doing internet fraud because he's always sitting at home and working. So since the government is not providing all of those things, a lot of youth are going to help themselves trying to get jobs on platform like what do you call it, Fiverr, Upwork, all kind of stuff, working online. But yet the government still do not make the environment comfortable for these youth to continue doing their job because the police who are employed by the government begin to harass these guys and calling them thieves and stuff like that. So basically, the government needs to provide the environment suitable for entrepreneurs, for people who are going to create a decent job to do so. So if I my own organization, for example, my company is the United Causes, we have some people who work for us who are being employed. Why? Because we're able to start a business. We are still growing, but fact remains is that the reason why we're going to employ those people is because we have started the business and we are still running the business. So if for instance the government brings a policy that shuts shut us down, which we don't very possible. That means everybody that's working under us are going to lose their job. So basically, that's how it is. So the government has to provide a good environment that promotes young entrepreneurs, promotes investors coming in, and also the government has to do their own part by providing jobs. That being said, who's providing decent jobs? So we already know there's the ratio to the jobs being available and the people who are ready to take the job is not balanced. It's kind of overboard because a lot of people are outside there unemployed and the jobs, yes, some are available, but actually not as much as could go around for everyone. So that being said, it means that they have to be more creation of job, like I said earlier on. But apart from that, there are still some jobs available. So how can we get those readily available jobs? Like what Google just came up and said, you need to get some. They're not even talking about getting certificate like probably computer engineering or computer science or maybe your networking or whatever. But you have these skills which they require in the company, and they see that you can do the job. They are going to employ you. You have the time, you have the skill, they need you, they employ you. So it's become so simple as that, as you just upskilling yourself. So that's why this idea of upskilling, I believe, came up. So people can also sit at home, watch YouTube videos, even probably for the next 6 months, training yourself how to become a web developer or just channel a career path, watching videos, going to downloading LinkedIn Learn, watching Google's program, attending meetups, coming for webinars, and maybe after the next 6 months, you could apply for a front end developer job or internship in the front end developer role. After you work there for a month or two, you get another a better role. That is achievable by upskilling. What am I trying to say? The jobs are, yes, not so much, but they are still jobs if you can upskill and get those jobs. So how do you upskill? I just gave an example. Just teaching yourself. Not really. So if you like to say they are self-taught, actually I don't really believe anybody's self-taught. You actually either learn from a video online, which was done by somebody. You can't just be on your own and just have the knowledge coming to your brain. I don't think that's anybody has done that. So what I'm saying is that you have to go and access online materials. That's what we need come 2025. And our youth in Nigeria will be able to access online materials. That is if the government are even ready to support them. That's government creating the environment for upskilling. If the government are not able to create the environment for a decent job, they should be able to create the environment for upskilling so that people can get the few jobs that are available, and we are still hoping to get them get those jobs that they want to create for the youth. So now, what are we talking about? Government providing power, for example, power in educational centers, power for probably the tech hubs. There are power where you could just go there and sit there, watch free videos on how to learn. Probably they may not have tutors, not having just have a lot of videos on a PC. For example, if you go to the American embassy, they have a library. When you get to the library, anybody could go there. If you have your passport or a valid ID card, you go there. Probably not now that it's COVID. Before the COVID, you could go there. You should not have any criminal record or something like that. Anyway, so if you a good Baba citizen, you should go there, register for the library. So when you get in, you have access to a device, like a Chromebook, like a laptop with a lot of online information. I could just go there, sit there, watch videos. I have internet. I can keep learning. Those are the things that we need to see going 2025, whereby governments are providing these things that will help us prepare for the future of work. But because if those things are not available, there is no way we can get we can get ready. If the jobs are not being provided, then we need to upskill our people so that they can be able to get access to the jobs that are already available, and also they can begin to learn and become jobs providers in nearest future. So basically, I think my time is almost up. That's why the screen is already switching off to the upskill program. So that being said, three things I want to point out again. One is that the government needs to help us provide the environment, and if they are not doing that, like I said, I used to think that I really don't like waiting for the government anyway. So I just sometimes forget that there's a government and just do what I can do. So if the government is not doing that, then we have to stand up and do what we can do by upskilling ourselves. There are platforms where you can get free internet, probably like I don't want to go into that, but if you can check whether you can get low cheap internet basically during the night, you get power if you can probably go register on the hub or probably maybe get somebody to power your system at night. I don't know how you're going to do it, but just try your best as much as possible. Improvise, use a phone, use a tablet, get a power bank. I don't know how you want to do it, but basically, you need to do what you can to upskill yourself. Lastly, I would want to say that while we are doing all of this stuff, we're upskilling ourselves, I would want us to kind of have the right, let's call it soft skills now, like characters, the right way to behave. Because if you have all the hard skills, all the best skills, and you don't know how to talk to clients to get them to pay, if you are doing a freelancing job, you don't know how to attend interviews or you get the job, you don't know how to relate to your team, just talk to your boss because you feel you know the job is not going to pay you. Then you are not going to be able to upskill yourself Okay. I was about rounding up, so I don't know what happened. The internet just probably went off. So, lastly, what I was saying was that you have to have the right attitude and the right behavior at the place of work or at our business place. Like talking to people. How about some people put in their CV that they can work under pressure? Oh, okay. Um, so that's a lovely question. I guess we're in question time or something. So, when you put on your CV that you can work under pressure, I believe that is to state that, for example, when I was doing my internship, I worked at the airport. That was 2015, about 5 or 6 years ago. So, we did this. So the airport, the airport is a place where we have plane flying, of course. So basically, when you're working in the airport, I think when I started working there, and I was very fast in getting used to all the equipment. Just one, what was that phone call? Because I was told that I have to call an airline and give the airline some information. That if I give them the wrong information, that means that airplane could crash. That alone already got me scared. So I was like, I wouldn't say I was under pressure, but I was like, so if I made a mistake now, I was like, so anytime I'm picking that call, I'm always like, oh God, help me not to make any mistake. That could be a pressure in some sense, you understand? But it took me a while before I could now be able to adapt to that and have confidence in myself. I could pick the call and give the airline the right information. That could be an example of somebody saying I can work under pressure. Or probably there's a airplane crash and everybody needs to get something done, and I can still keep calm and say, okay, this is what I'm doing my job. That could be an example of somebody working under pressure. It could be a deadline. Now, probably get this graphic design. We need it now. The client just ordered for it now. The company boss just call you. Oh, you do the UI UX. We need something you need to do in 2 weeks. So we need to do it in 1 week. That could be an example of working under pressure. So pressure may not be the negative circle. I believe you're thinking pressure could be like maybe probably somebody putting a lot of work on you, or probably somebody harassing you or abusing you or something like that. But pressure could be some certain moments where there's a deadline, where the company need to meet some targets. A lot of companies have these things that come up. So they always want to employ somebody like that, somebody who could take the heat sometimes. So it may not be every day that it happens. It could just come up whereby companies trying to meet a certain target because of some particular competitor or something like that. So everybody need to work extra hour to achieve that goal. And when you achieve that goal and the company celebrates you, for example, you go for a hangout, you spend 1 week somewhere, you go for a vacation, you relax again, and you are happy that, oh wow, a company have got to this milestone. You're now the best software company producer in the world. You also feel this achievement as a person that worked there. That wow, I was able to achieve this, and it's kind of gives you more like let's say encouragement to keep up the work. So if that's the kind of pressure, I think that's fine that you could work under such pressure, because when you look at all these GMAT questions, you see that some of the questions are not really like 1 plus 1 equals to, so they're trying to make you to think fast. Like they give you very low time to answer, probably maybe like you just have like 30 seconds to answer this question. So you have to think fast. So a company wants somebody who can think fast. There's something needs to be done. You can make the right decision fast, and when you're under pressure, you make the key decisions. Company needs such people like that, in management position, leadership positions. By the time there's a situation, there's a game. It's not like when you're playing the game of chess. You're not going to go and oh, please let me go and read some books and come back and see if I should move a king forward. I should bring a worker back, or I should you need to make that decision immediately and win that game. So that's what most companies need. But that's kind of pressure I believe that is safe to say that okay, I can work under pressure. So apart from that, I don't know if I'm able to answer your question properly. I see Emmanuel coming back on. I think my time is far spent already. Sorry, your time is far spent, and I've overused my time. Okay, okay. I guess this question was not for me.
I think it was for you,
Sorry.
Emmanuel. Thank you for answering it. I'll just provide my opinion as well. We were chatting in the chat box on YouTube as well, so just offering it on screen where, like, at least from my perspective, if I were to put myself in the shoes of an employer, like working under pressure just by itself as the generic statement might not be very helpful. Like, I don't know if it, specifically tells me anything, about what that means. I think it depends on the role. Like if the role requires, specifics of, there'll be changes that can happen quickly. You need to adapt quickly. You need to react quickly. You need to think on your feet, and be able to, change your plans relatively rapidly. That might be useful. But as an employer, I would want to understand more specifics. Was there a particular situation? What did you do? What was the resulting impact? So in that sense, I would say that those are probably, helpful things to describe. One thing I will make a generic comment about CVs. I think there's definitely an increasing trend of being more explicit or being more specific in your resume. So if you are making a statement about, you worked on a team, or you worked on a product, or you worked on something, to make it more specific in terms of, like I said, there's this model, that is used to describe, any kind of story. So you can use this model. It's called SBI: situation, behavior, and impact. So if you're able to describe it really quickly, in what was the situation, what was your behavior, what did you do, and then what was the resulting impact, I think it leads people to understand, a little bit better, what your example was. Now, I understand not all of it can be put in a resume, because resumes are supposed to be short. So you kind of have to balance how much detail you want to provide versus, how much you want to keep it at a high level. But those are just some general thoughts on, how to think about that topic.
I really agree with you a lot with what you said. And I think that's what I was trying to explain. That the only thing I can see from that is just saying probably when there's, which I believe that can't happen every time. Probably when there's a key decision that need to be made, or there's a deadline somewhere, and that's only when I would like, oh, so you could work under such a pressure. Okay, like I would like to ask more than that, but I just feel that people just like to put a lot of stuff in their CV that will make people want to get them hired. So I feel sometimes people like to do like a copy and paste. You see a CV whereby somebody put something like that, you feel, wow, this is cool. Let me add it to my CV. And then you add a lot of stuff that you don't even know why you are adding them. Just feel like, okay, or probably you watch a webinar, somebody said, oh, that's a good way of writing the CV, and you just add it to your CV, and you don't really don't know what it implies. So basically, I would say that adding that or not adding that, I don't think it will reduce your chance of getting the job. But adding like what was just said now, that adding things that you are able to achieve. But I really don't know if you'll be allowed to put all that in your CV, because most times CVs are just like 1 or 2 pages, and especially for a entry role, and all they just want to see is that probably your education background. Probably that's for most companies that like to ask about your qualification, probably your skills, your objective. Don't know what kind of person are you, or you are rather. Maybe probably you're somebody who is thinking of your kind of your career goal, your career path is what they want to have. Probably you want, you're a go-getter, you want to achieve milestone, what you want the company to do for you, and what you can offer the company. Probably at the beginning, your profile, some of those stuff, and your skills, where you have worked, your experience. I think those are the kind of things companies want to see in a CV that will make them to call, oh, this guy. He has worked with, for example, he has worked with Google. Well, he has worked with Google, or probably somebody who you work with Google. Earlier, the only question that will be that, okay, somebody works with Google and is coming to look for a job in maybe my own firm. I would ask them, oh, why did you leave Google? Why did you leave Google? I want to come work for us. So, but it's gonna be a nice stuff if somebody works with, oh, I would like, oh, I would like to have this guy work in my company too, because he works with Google. I mean, he has some brain and he has some sense, so something like that. Oh, I don't know if there are other questions. I don't know if Emmanuel is still um at the studio on the look. Okay. I don't know if, okay, I'm seeing another one on e-learning. Yes, it's different and requires more dedicated focus. Oh, I think that's on YouTube, right? Probably I
Yeah.
need to.
This was also on YouTube. Maybe just sharing my 2 cents on this one. We chatted on the IM conversation, where I think somebody had made a comment about, e-learning, is useful, but like is also hard, because you have to dedicate time and energy to it. So I was just describing that. I mean, yes, it is different. Yes, it has pros and cons. Maybe just like everything else does. There are benefits too. Like I was describing on the chat window. it gives you tremendous flexibility. You can do it anytime you want. You can do it in small chunks. You can stop it, start it, rewind it, go back, try it again if you feel like you forgot what it was. So there's flexibility and convenience it provides. I think it allows you to go at your own pace. So if you're somebody who takes a little bit more time to think about it, you can go at it slowly. If you're somebody who likes to go fast, you can run through the e-learning courses relatively quickly. So it has
Yeah.
benefits. It also has disadvantages. It also has cons. Like I said in the
Yeah.
chat, it requires self-discipline. It requires you to say, yes, I'm going to pay attention to it and do it. It's not very easy to get questions answered. Like if you don't understand what is being described, it's not live usually. So, you can't really ask your questions. It's also not very collaborative. Typically when you're in a class environment, you can learn off of others. Somebody might offer an insight or somebody might be able to answer your question. That's not the teacher. But in an e-learning class, generally, more typically, you're kind of learning on your own. So there are cons here. So the pros and cons. But I think it has benefit, and it has its purpose. But there are some things that you can't e-learn that sometimes only come with practical experience. So there's a balance, just like with everything else.
Okay. Yeah, I really agree with that. I think e-learning is something that is very good because even when we have physical classes, we still have to do some. We still want to look for some notes to go back to what was done, some videos to throw back and say, okay, this is what the lecturer taught the last class and stuff like that. I think I was doing a Google course. It's Google Digital Skill for Africa some years back. I think it took me almost a year to finish that course because I started doing it and I got so busy. Somebody else did it in a day or two. I started doing the course. I think I was having like some milestone. Okay, I do this a day next week, and I was busy with a lot of stuff. But um, I had to go back to where I stopped because it's an e-learning platform, so everything was already there for me. So I had to go back to where I stopped and continue. So probably if that was a physical class, the class must have already ended before I get there. Everybody would have closed the class after a year. Definitely. But everything was still there, waiting for me to continue whenever I wanted to do so. So when I had the time, I went back there and finished the course. So if it was a physical class, definitely before I get back to the class, all my mates would have graduated and go to the next class. Then I wouldn't probably have the course content anymore. But I was able to do that because so it has its benefits, it has its pros and its cons, like you said. Like not being able to ask questions and stuff like that. But I think it's something that is the advantage is far above to some extent because a lot of people can teach from India, from Kenya. I don't know if people teach from Kenya, from India, from South Africa, from London, from Europe, from almost anywhere in the world. You could be teaching a course, and so many people are watching it. Sometimes you don't even know your students. You're just teaching, and so many people know you, and you just like somebody could just stop you on the way. So and one of your students be like, wow, I never knew you're my student. Person has been following your course content. So you could actually reach a lot of people that you not even that you can never imagine using an online platform. But that's not to say that the traditional way of having a physical class should be taken for granted. It's very important also because you have this live effect. You see people in the class. You could probably, for example, I need to copy a software. I don't know if that's allowed. Some of the softwares. I know a lot of people like to get something like that. Copy a software from their friend, install it in their own drive, than for you to go and probably don't have access to the internet to download them yourself. Could actually do that and stuff like that. So basically, I think physical classes too are also important, and the online class are actually going to do a lot of work for us, basically at the future of work. And I don't know where Emmanuel if he's still here, but basically I can see a lot of chats on the chat box, and I did not look at them earlier on. I don't know if there's anyone that I need to answer. Um, I really don't. Putting okay pressure. Okay, I think we have spoken on that. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Uncle and Sina. You guys were really wonderful. The session was amazing. And I'm very sure that our participants and those who came on the program really enjoyed the session. Yeah, so now we'll be moving on to the skill up program as Uncle Emmanuel and Emmanuel. So we have to Emmanuel that since they've discussed the part, and then we were meant to have Adenike Abati with us here today, but unfortunately, she had some other engagement and she was unable to meet with us. So with that, we will not be able to take Adenike Abati. So I'll be going over to my session now. Although there'll be an each of because my laptop went off while the meeting was going on, and we're in Nigeria, so I'll not be able to share my slide. I don't have access to share my slide from the mobile phone. It's only when I'm using a desktop version of the streaming app. So I'll be discussing about the Skill Up program itself. So I hope you guys will follow as we go on. I'm sorry that you guys will not be able to see my slides, but nevertheless, the slides will be forwarded to our mails after the program has ended. So we all will be able to follow through. Oh, Uncle, thank you very much. Uncle is going off now. Thank you very much, Uncle, for gracing this occasion. We really appreciate it. Don't worry, we'll get in touch with you on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Yeah, so guys, if any one of you has anything for Uncle Sena, you guys can just buzz him up on LinkedIn. His LinkedIn address has been forwarded to the chat box by Emmanuel. But if you guys still need this, you can reach out to me, Emmanuel, or anybody in the YIEE team to get access to the LinkedIn profiles of our speakers for today. Thank you very much. So I'll be moving on to the YIEE Skill Up program. So the Skill Up program is intended by YIEE to cater for the Skill Up program is intended by YIEE to cater for entrepreneurs, students, undergraduates, and graduates all over Nigeria and Africa as a whole. And then the target is to train over 250,000 students, undergraduates, graduate students, or anybody, youth in general. We're targeted at youth because we know Nigeria as a whole in Africa caters for close to, I don't have the correct figures, but I'm certain that we have close to 60% of youth present in Africa currently, and then they all belong in Nigeria. So now, why did we come up with the Skill Up program? We know that it is general that we have a problem that we want to solve with the Skill Up program. So now, moving on, what are the problems? The problems that we saw that made us come up with Skill Up programs. The first was inadequate skill set. We discovered that looking at the future of work in Africa and in the world as a whole, work is shifting towards technology. And looking at the jobs that most Nigerians carry out on a day-to-day basis, we all know that these jobs are jobs that are redundant, jobs with repetitive tasks and stuff like that. And then these jobs do not bring out their full productive. These jobs don't bring out their full productivity. So that is a problem on it. And then the second problem is there is a wide margin between the skills and the employment rate that we have currently. It is no more news. When you do not have a skill, who will employ you? Just like you saying you want to go and meet Uncle Sina that okay, you're looking for a job in Google. Uncle will ask you some certain questions. That probably you go meet Uncle, okay, Uncle, I'm a tailor, I design clothes and stuff like that. Google is not looking for tailor. If we wanted to if you are looking for a job as a tailor, probably you go to um fashion houses, clothing lines and like. But you want to get a job at Google, Facebook, Apple and likes, you need to have a certain technological skill. And if that skill is not there, there will be no one to employ you. This is the problem that we're facing in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole currently. And that is one of the reasons why we came up with the Skill Up program. I hope you guys are still with me. And then the third program is the slow economic investment and growth that we're facing currently. The economic power of a nation depends on the economic power of the people that live in the nation. If we have people live in a nation and what they make as their, how let's say, the monthly salary, the amount of revenue they generate for the country, and the amount of money they put in into the country, into the nation as a whole, will determine how gigantic or how powerful the nation will be as regards the economic and investment growth. So moving on, our solution. I'm coming. Before we move on to the solution, I'd like to check the comment section if we have Any questions for me before I move on? Are you guys still with me? Okay, so as I was saying, yeah, so now our solution at YIEE, sorry, pardon me. So our solution at YIEE is to train and provide opportunities to youth in order to bridge the digital skill gap and prepare them for the future of work in Africa. And why should we enroll for YIEE Skiller program? So the YIEE Skiller program is will be organized by industry-based experts. Our experts are coming from, we have people come from Google, from Facebook, that will be part of the creators of the course content that will be distributed to those who participate in the Skiller program. And then the Skiller program will be in the form of a peer-to-peer learning. It is a collaborative learning. We believe when you learn in a group, it's a virtual learning program. It will be best when you have people that you can walk to and then talk to when you face or encounter problems while you're learning. And then it is a project-based learning also. The way the courses are created and the way the courses are outlined, you have a project. It's a 12-week intensive training program. So you have a project at the end of the training when you're done with the training. And afterwards, when we're done with training, we will give access to internship with some top companies in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. So students who will see that, or participants, let me say participants. The participants who will see that they perform to participants that have performed excellently well in the course of the duration of the skill up program. And then also for those who register for the program, we'll be providing data sufficient for them throughout the course of the program. Thank you very much for listening. Together we go digital. So that is that on the skill up program. So if we have questions concerning the skill up program, do well to drop them in the chat session, and then I will answer them. And the ones I can't provide answers to, Manuel will be able to provide answers to them. Yeah, thank you. I can see. Okay, Manuel, thank you. Okay, those are saying thank you to us. Thank you to you guys as well. You guys made it fun and interesting. Oops. Oh. Okay, so for those of us that are still around, do you have any? Okay, so for those of us who are still available, do we have any advice or suggestions for ye, or what do you think we can do better to make this program a better one for our upcoming program that we'll be doing? And then if you guys have anything whatsoever that you feel you need to drop, you guys are free to drop it in the comment section. And then anytime you guys need to reach out, you can reach out to Emmanuel on LinkedIn, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just go to LinkedIn and check you can follow us on Twitter, I'm underscore NGENG. You can check us on Instagram as well. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, E.ng. Do well to follow our social media page. And then, most importantly, yeah, let's not forget, there is a link in the comment section, which is the YIESubstack.com. You can register on our newsletter via that link in order to get access to our opportunities and career advices. So thank you very much for attending to this session. I believe you all enjoyed your time, and then you guys had a wonderful session. Thank you very much. So Emmanuel, what the next?